Hello, Facebook land. Let me just get my little camera set up right here. So hello from Hayden Temple in New Zealand. So those of you who haven't yet heard, I am currently living here, which is quite exciting. Also doing a really big temple project here, temple restoration. So there's many of us that have been putting in some really long, hard hours, beautifully upgrading the temple space here, which has been quite a journey. I can definitely tell you that much. We're finished the build part and about to move into the decorating phase, which is super exciting. So been launching that and working hard on that, and then at the same time as well in the process of launching an online temple space called Inside the Temple. And so that's part of what this interview series is about. At the moment you'd be seeing I'll be on kind of I'm just seeing my guest is popping on, so I'll be on every day for the next 10 days interviewing different people and showing just like a taster of what's to come on Inside the Temple. And so one of those amazing people join us. So I've got Janine about to jump on the call with us, and we're going to chat all things ecstatic, menopause and the womb, which is pretty exciting. Here we go. It just says that she's adding her. So here she is. Hi, Janine.
Hi, Zapheria.
Yay.
I think I've just worked out how to get on this.
Yes. Yeah, it's all a bit technical the first time you do it, but we've figured it out. So for those who don't already know, you've probably seen me tag Janine like a million times in different posts over the last few years. You know, there's some people that you meet in your life who change your life, who make massive impact on your life, and Janine has been one of those for me. So I'm really excited and honoured to have you on, Janine. And Janine's one of my mentors for all of the womb work that I've been doing, and she's a lead facilitator. Is that what it's called? You're a lead facilitator and more for ISTA, for International School of Temple Arts. I don't know all the proper wording, but
that's great.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
Oh, so I feel like maybe let's just drop in together for a moment of just a couple of breaths and just connecting wombs. Oh. Mm. Oh. So I just really love to set an intention for our chat that this shared channel, anything that is ready to come through for people who are listening, that will be and serve them at their highest. So I'm just kind of placing myself out of the way and allowing whatever questions need to come through. So I'd really love to start with you around ecstatic menopause. I really am feeling that very much in the space. I've been feeling it bubbling through today. And I mean, just even the word that ecstatic and menopause can go together, I think will blow so many people's minds. So I would love to hear, like, what has been your journey to even discover that this is the thing?
Yeah. Well, it's been interesting as I've been approaching this portal and going through this portal of initiation of menopause. You know, I really felt it. I feel like in my journey with the feminine, I feel like so much of it there's needed to be an upgrade in images around the way the feminine was perceived, 10, 15 years ago, the way the blood's being perceived. That's now flowing through, and people are really reclaiming those parts of the feminine, her blood and her womb and all those different pieces, the power of the feminine. But I feel like with menopause, it's one that still needs a bit of an image change. And as women approach this portal, they can feel a lot of fear in their bodies around what that means, because it's really been something that hasn't really got a really good image, I don't think. You become invisible, dry, wrinkly. It's like the hormones will go, whatever, you medicate them. It's like it's not really painted as something to be embraced or looking forward to experiencing. So as I've been tuning into this shamanic portal, it's like, well, really the essence of all the feminine mysteries, when you really pierce it to the core, it's ecstasies at her core. And we're discovering now that as as there's clearings done in the cervix, and as the ecstatic energy opens in the body, that, you know, birth can be ecstatic, and even death can be ecstatic. So, you know, breastfeeding can be ecstatic. So why can't menopause be ecstatic? Like, it's an opening, it's a shifting of energy. So that's the exploration. So going through this portal of ecstatic menopause. Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, can you maybe explain like what ecstatic means?
Yeah. So for me, ecstatic is the energy that emits from the feminine void place. So it's not kind of a light, fuffily, joy, bubbly kind of place. It's an energy when we're really sitting in the womb and really sitting in the dark mysteries of the womb and activating the power of the womb. There's a natural ecstasy that starts to arise and emit from that place. And we can follow that ecstasy as a revealing that, you know, as a way to know even where to go in life. If ecstasy increases, then that's the way forward. If it decreases, that's the way back, which is different to blocking energy. It's a different thing. It's really following the upwelling of ecstasy from the void of the feminine, the womb of the feminine. So that's what I mean when I say ecstasy.
Beautiful. So then,
Yeah,
if a
I
woman
feel like,
was to go,
I was just going to expand. I was going to say, I actually feel like
yes,
ecstasy includes everything as well. So ecstasy is not, it includes, like, grief can be ecstatic, anger can be, it includes everything, light, dark, feminine, it includes masculine, it includes everything, and love and hate and all of it. But there's a pulse or a vibration that comes through when everything's embraced from the void place.
So if a woman was to experience ecstatic menopause, how would that experience be different to her than what we've kind of, what I feel like we've been sold as what menopause is supposed to look like?
So as you know, I'm still in the exploration of it. But one of my questions going into this portal is, you know, for a lot of people in the past, going into menopause has been the first time they've really had any focus directed on themselves. So it's a time of working through blocks and unresolved pieces and things that have been addressed in their life that might need to be changed. And that's typically the way menopause is looked at, and that still can be the case for people. But what I've been curious about is, what about for people that have been doing a lot of work, that have been clearing the blocks, that have opened portals? Like, what is that experience then? And so I still feel like, as I'm going through it, I still feel it is a death initiation. It still is an ecstatic death initiation, actually. So it is still shedding layers that are not relevant to come through the portal. So I think it is an examination of life. It is an examination of the journey taken to this point, to see what is relevant to come through the portal, and what is being shedded as it goes through the portal. But the ecstatic part is opening into it and moving with the energy, and not blocking it or contracting from it or making anything wrong, but really being really fully with whatever's moving and opening, and bringing the ecstatic energy and running it through the body to support the portal opening. Because that's what I feel like it is. It's a portal that's opening, and I want to bring as much of myself through that portal as I can. And I want to bring, you know, the learnings and the wisdom through the portal, and release the things that aren't relevant to come into this next phase of life with this archetypal shamanic wise woman energy.
Beautiful. So obviously, I mean, you have your ecstatic menopause retreat, which I cannot wait to attend at some point one day. I'm not quite there yet, but definitely that's on my list. But other than that, like, women who are starting to head into this phase of their life, who have never heard of ecstatic menopause, but who also have not been necessarily doing any womb work, like where would they start?
Mm. But I feel like it's really important to do womb work,
Yeah.
because this is like another level, another expansion of womb activation. So and the more present and embodied a woman is in her womb space, the more she's going to be able to tune in to following her ecstatic current through this portal. So I feel like the first place is to find somewhere to do some womb work. And there's more and more opening worldwide around that, but just simple things like breathing and connecting with the womb, anchoring to the earth, and bringing the awareness and energy down to that part of the body and tuning in to the feminine center, because that is the point that's going to support and guide through this transition. So yeah, I feel like the womb work's really important. And I think the other piece is to find other women going through this portal as well, and sharing, find a circle of women and be sharing and supporting each other and journeying together in this way. I did start an ecstatic menopause group on Facebook that anyone's welcome to join, that has got a group of women that are exploring this. And there's quite a lot of good writings on that page that people have contributed, some that have been through this portal, and there's quite a few articles and different things on there. So that's a place to start as well.
That's a beautiful page. I'm on that page and definitely learning a lot from that. It's interesting. Someone's actually just commented about how they're loving their menopause and the fiery hot flushes. And I think I've heard you mention before about like what the fiery hot flush actually is. Like I feel like most women go through this phase of thinking the hot flush is very uncomfortable in their body, but I've heard you reframe that on what's actually happening. Maybe you could share that.
Yeah, well, there's a few viewpoints around it, but one of the it's fire energy. Obviously, it's fire energy. It's dragon energy. It's coming from the earth. It's fire energy coming through the body, and I believe that it's burning away things that need to go to transition through this portal. It's also opening up the kundalini through the body as well. And so it's actually by opening to it's just like in labor, like opening to the contractions, opening to the hot flushes, breathing and opening into them, and calling in the fire energy and really working with it with intention, can then create an ecstatic feeling in the body as the energy is being opened into, rather than trying to fight against it or contract in response to it. Or yeah.
Okay, that's like a beautiful tip that people can start to use straight away, even before they're starting to journey the womb work. I mean, obviously that's an important part, but even just that piece that you've shared of like breathing into the hot flush instead of freaking out and trying to shut that down, that's like a really beautiful, potent tip right there.
Yeah, thanks. I think actually while we're talking about that, because one of the things about menopause, one of the stories about menopause is that at menopause you'll sexually shut down and dry up, and then after menopause your sex life will be over, and that's quite a common story around menopause. But actually that's not the truth of it. And I know women that have been through this portal that actually it's been the opposite. They're more juicy, more alive, more in their sexual power and in their sexual ecstatic energy than they were before this menopause. But the difference is how they've gone through the portal and whether they've worked with its energy. And I feel like this is a really important distinction to make, that earlier in life, a lot of people's sexuality is driven by their hormones.
Yeah.
So their libido is driven by their hormones. Their orgasms are driven by their hormones. So there's the hormones moving in the body has been directing what they've been experiencing. And what happens with menopause is the hormones do decline. So hormone-driven sexuality changes. Like that doesn't work anymore. The hormones aren't going to be what drives sexuality. But for those who've been working with sacred sexuality and working with energy and opening kundalini through their body, they also know prior to menopause that something different exists. And when that energy's been opened, when we're actually journeying with life force, and we know how to journey with the kundalini and the currents of the earth and bring those through the body, sexuality is no longer hormone driven. It's driven by the life force current, the life force energy. And I feel like that's part of this portal as well. And the kundalini supports the opening of that and the change from hormone driven sexuality to sexuality driven by knowing how to move with life force and kundalini, which is a much deeper, more anchored, much more expanded experience in my body from my own experience.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's interesting. I have heard like a few different women in this field also say that like as they've gone through menopause that they have become more juicy actually, or even started to ejaculate for the first time. So
Yes.
I find that like fascinating to me because that is the opposite of what we've been told might happen. So to me, I find that exciting that there is a different way that can be, and to me that's what a beautiful reason to start journeying in the sacred sexuality field and the womb path. So I would love to kind of chat to you. I want to chat to you about the womb work because really, I mean, that's how I met you. Well, I met you at an ISTA actually, but it was the womb work at the ISTA that really ignited something in me that has changed the whole trajectory really of my life, even from that one experience with you. And then obviously I've journeyed a lot with you since then. But I wonder, like, and when I hear women speak about, like, whenever I share womb work, women are like, well, I don't understand what that is. Isn't that just if you were having a baby? Or so I would love for you to speak into that. Like, why would a woman want to do womb work?
Yeah, it's such a beautiful question. And I think that's a really important point that you've just made there, is a lot of women don't have any connection with their womb unless it's through childbirth or they've had some kind of period cramps or something that they've been aware of their womb, but beyond that, they don't have a connection. And really, for me, the womb is the feminine center. It's the feminine wisdom. It's the feminine power. And when we can tune in and move from that center, the feminine center, that's when we're really in touch with our intuition and our feminine wisdom, which is different from how I experience more the masculine center, which is more through the third eye. And then, of course, when we bring them together, we come into the heart center where we're moving with both. But strengthening and tuning in to the feminine center is a very powerful place, a very powerful place. It connects us to the earth. It connects us to the cosmic womb. But most importantly, it connects us to the deeper places in ourself, our deepest potency, our deepest longings, our deepest intuitive wisdom, and really the source of feminine essence in ourselves that's actually beyond ourselves.
I can feel my whole body going. The whole body responds to you when you speak. And then, like, as part, like, in addition to the womb work is working with the blood, and I see that it's becoming more known, like women are connecting more with their blood, but on different, I guess, on different levels and wherever they're kind of at in their path. I wonder, I'm trying to feel into how I want to word this question. It's like, how do you feel about that? Like women working with their blood, and why would a woman choose to journey with her blood?
Yeah. So I think there's different reasons. I think, initially connecting with the blood work, depending on what age and what stage of life, can be really about just experiencing some kind of connection and de-shaming, really reclaiming something. Because, in an ideal world, we would be learning about the feminine mysteries at a much earlier age. And some young women now are experiencing this, where there is this rite of passage and celebration and connection with the blood as they experience their first menstruation. And so this rite of passage being really honored and connected with is one way of working with the blood. But the blood is also, it's, this is our cycle. This is what connects us to the cycles of life, and being in tune with where we are in our cycle, connecting that with where the moon is, and being in tune with that rhythm, that then starts to open even a deeper potency of working with the womb blood. It supports us to, again, connect more deeply with ourselves. The time of bleeding is when we're at our most psychic, our most intuitive. And by honoring that through ceremony and through ritual, we can really start developing and deepening our connection with our womb, with ourself, with the earth. Simple things like giving the blood to the earth, to developing a connection with the potency of the energy of the blood. It's not just a fluid substance. It holds a shamanic energy. And we bring intention and awareness to that, we can activate those energies. And there's kind of a flow-on effect. Activated blood supports activating the womb, and an activated womb supports activating blood. And then the blood takes on deeper potency and deeper magic. And it's a very sacred place. It's a very sacred place, and I really hope it doesn't become trivialized, because I know this work is getting out there now, and sometimes people are working with the blood, but actually they don't have the deep anchoring in the lineage and the mysteries of it. And it's actually really important to have that deep anchoring to really understand the potency and the vibration, the shamanic properties of the activated womb blood.
Yeah, thank you for speaking into that, because it's a piece that I'm witnessing. Like, I'm loving how women are becoming more connected to their blood, and it's becoming less taboo. I think that's just so beautiful, and I very much wish for those women also to be able to have the experience of understanding the potency, or having the teachings and the learnings such as what I've experienced with you and all the womb work, and to really understand more about what that is. So yeah, thank you for bringing that in to the space. Interestingly, that something else that's like totally not womb or ecstatic menopause, but there's a sisterhood piece that I feel like I'm supposed to ask you, which is also part of what I've experienced in your retreat, is the sisterhood wound, right? I wonder, where do you see that heading? Because I feel like it's gone through different shifts, and I'm wondering where you feel that is at the moment, because I know different women are doing different work around that, and it's a big piece of the work that you've brought to the world. And I'm wondering if you're seeing a shift, and where you see that will go.
Yeah, I actually do feel there is starting to be a shift, because I feel like it has been a piece that's been in a lot of shadow, and I think there's been a deep longing, particularly amongst people in female bodies, to be dropping into this sisterhood piece in a deeper way, but really haven't known how to do it. And so they're trying different things, because they're looking for this sisterhood bond, this sisterhood link, and trying to do it through groups of friends or circles or different things. Even paying $5,000 to be part of a circle to try and get this sisterhood link. And basically the same old shit still playing out, still not a feeling of safety amongst women, or needing a whole set of rules to try and create this safety. And then, some kind of betrayal happens, or some collusion, or some gossiping behind the back, or, the old shadows just start running again. And I feel, so the way I kind of work with this sisterhood is, it's really the way I work with everything, because I feel like everything's an inside job, including the sisterhood wound. And that whatever we're going, seeking sisterhood circles or seeking female friendships to try and create safety, to try and feel safe in the sisterhood, we're never going to. And the only way we're ever going to feel safe in the sisterhood is when we are feeling safe within ourselves and our own relationship with the feminine, and particularly our own relationship with our light and dark feminine in ourselves. And when we have the connection, when we have that in here, and when we have the connection to the greater feminine, or whatever you want to call it, the feminine essence, and you can really feel that in the womb, then we bring the safety. We actually show up as the safety. We don't need the safety to be provided in the circle, or we don't need you to be my friend and this is our safe space, but I can't trust anybody else. All that just becomes irrelevant. You just start to tune in to, you know, with discernment as to what's feeling right and what's feeling wrong. But you become the thing that you're seeking. You start modeling what it is. You start embodying it. You start transmitting it. You start becoming it. You start being it. You start creating it because of the ripple effect of what's coming from you, rather than trying to seek it outside to fix what's actually out inside. Yeah.
Beautiful. It's one of the things that I really admire about you is how much you journey things inwards. Like, it's over the years that I've known you and the conversations we've had, the number of times that I hear you speak about like what you're reflecting to find that peace within yourself and to shamanically move through that rather than the directing out and searching for that peace somewhere else. I find that really amazing. And I wonder, for people who really don't even know where to start with that, like there is the aspect of like where you take it to the shamanic moving through, which I feel I really need to come and experience that in a retreat or a teaching with you. But for even just being able to start to journey that piece, what would you recommend to someone who's never done that before, who's never even done the self-reflection to look for their own shadow, their own pieces?
Yeah, well, one of the fastest ways to find your shadow, one of the fastest ways is to notice what it is you're most judging outside yourself, particularly the thing that you're really, really, really right about. That's one of the first, you know, one of the biggest pointers. And to notice when you have charge on something that's happening outside yourself. Because whenever you've got charge, there's always something going on inside. So you can, which is different to an observation. Because sometimes you can notice something and you can see something's maybe out, or maybe something needs to be called, but you're not triggered or in reaction yourself around it. And if you are, there's always something in there to have a look at first. And what I find is by going in and feeling that, really feeling it and journeying with it and seeing where is that out inside me, and sometimes it can be tricky because sometimes it can be the opposite pole that's out. So it can be a little bit tricky to track. But I know when I find that peace inside me, that either then I don't need to address what's going on out there that I thought I needed to address, or I do need to address it, but I'm coming from a completely different place. And because I'm approaching it from a place of no charge, then it can actually be received and it can deepen intimacy rather than creating separation.
Potent. Thank you. Interesting. Victoria Smith has just jumped on and said that she did a shout out to both of us in her live today. That's very funny. I love it. All the wombs are tuned in on what's
Victoria.
happening. That's very perfect. I love it. So I feel like I would love to ask you, there's a question that I ask like everyone that I interview around Inside the Temple. And I'm wondering, what does the temple mean to you?
Well, in a way, it's a flow on from what we just talked about then. Like for me, the temple is an inside job again. So it's going inside here and finding the temple in here, finding the sacredness inside here, finding divinity inside me, and then transmitting that into the spaces that are being created. And so that way I bring the temple with me, and then life becomes a temple. Actually, life becomes a prayer because it's embodied here, and then it can flow out and be created in physical spaces, or whether they're temporary or permanent, whether it's circle, whether it's retreat, whether it's creating a physical space of a temple. But again, it's coming back to what's inside here, finding the sacredness inside, the divinity inside. So you're bringing the temple wherever you kind of go.
Beautiful. Thank you. I feel like I know I could talk to you for hours and just keep on asking you a million questions
Yeah.
for hours, but I really want this to just be a taster. I don't want to give away everything. So I do want to ask you, I know you've got another retreat coming up in Byron Bay. I'm wondering when
Yes.
is that in May? Is that right?
It's in May, yeah. So I've got a shamanic womb journey retreat, which is it's a 7-day retreat where we journey deeply into the feminine mysteries, into the blood mysteries, and particularly into the gates of the womb, the 7 gates, the portals to open and activate the womb and access the ecstatic energy. So that's happening in Byron in May, and also Samothrace in Greece in June over the solstice. Over the solstice. So that's exciting. It feels like different places in the world are calling this. So Samothrace, Greece, which is an island that holds a lot of origins of the feminine mystery. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with the energies there, this work.
Yeah. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, and you'll be there, Zapheria, so it's going to be awesome.
I will be there. And I have to
Yeah.
say, like, you know, I can't remember how many of your retreats I attended. I think I attended 3 and I've assisted 1 or something, and I'm coming to the one in Greece as well. It's like, you know, if you've ever thought about maybe going to one of Janine's retreats, just do it. But seriously, I find them incredibly potent and powerful, which is why I continue to do so many of them. So yeah, unfortunately I can't be at this one coming up in May, otherwise I would be there for sure again. So I'm so grateful for you and the work that you bring to the world and all that you do. I really see you know, you being a pioneer of this work and with ISTA, and there's just so much that you're bringing to the world, and I'm really deeply grateful for that. So I really wanted to take a moment to say, you know, thank you for all that you do. And I know it's not always easy, but it's felt, and the ripples go out so far. So thank you so much for all that you do and all that you are. And I love you very much.
Thank you. I love you
Thank
too.
you
And
for
actually,
being.
I was just feeling into that, like we were talking about the sisterhood piece, and I think, you know, where I'm really feeling such deep sisterhood is with the womb girls, like the
Yeah.
people that have journeyed through. I feel like we're actually sharing something together in a different way. I feel it with you. I feel
Yeah.
like a deep womb connection with you, a deep sister connection with you that feels in a deep and potent place. And I noticed that with other women going through this work as well, something shifting and rippling out, and that excites me a lot.
Yeah, definitely. It's powerful stuff. So we'll put a link after this live into the comments of Janine's retreat, and perhaps also of your Ecstatic Menopause page as well, for people who want to join that. And I'm also going to put a link on, so like this is really, like I shared at the beginning, I'm doing interviews like all this week or for the next 10 days that are tasters of the level of like teachers and mentors from all around the world who are you know, the people that I want to be bringing in for Inside the Temple, which is an online platform to connect people from all around the world, all these teachers and mentors who have just such amazing gifts to bring and share. But sometimes you can't make it to their retreats or to their workshops, or you can't take a week or, you know, 6 weeks out of your life to go to a mystery school or to any of these pieces. So the intention behind Inside the Temple is to be able to bring this work to a larger network of people onto the one platform. So I'm really needing, you know, support with that. Like, to be able to really launch this properly needs quite a lot of funds. And so I'm in the middle of a campaign to be able to raise funds to be able to get this off the ground. So if that's something that excites you in any way and you would like to support it, I'm going to put the comment in the links as well. And, you know, whether you share it with your friends who you think might be able to support it, or you financially support it, or energetically support it, anything you possibly can, I would be deeply grateful, because I believe in all of these teachers and mentors so much that I want to bring them to a greater platform, and I would love your help with that. So thank you, Janine, for your support in that and being on this call with me. I'm really grateful.
I'd just like to share about, you know, this vision that you're holding about Inside the Temple, you know, like witnessing your journey. And, you know, it's like with each being, it's like they're holding a piece, you know, their souls is holding a piece. And for you, it's just been such a passion around the temple and creating temple. And I'm seeing you dive so deeply with this piece and creating temple in all areas of your life. It's not, this is some airy fairy idea you've come up with. You've actually grounded it through all the levels of your being, through all the energetic bodies, right through to the core of the earth. And this temple that you're creating is vibrating with that. It's, you know, I can feel the potency that you're creating and calling in. So yeah, really support you in that, honey. And I hope others feel it as well, because this is the piece you're holding and birthing from your womb, and I'm feeling the transmission of it. So I'm sure others are too.
Thank you. Thank you. That feels like a beautiful place to end our call. So thank you everybody who's jumped on. There's been lots and lots of people jumping on. So thank you for your time, and thank you, Janine. I love you. Yeah. See you.
I love you.
Bye.